Hey everyone, Melanie, Finding Flavor. Happy Mardi Gras. So today is known as Fat Tuesday because it's the day before the season of Lent starts in the church. And they call it Fat Tuesday because a lot of people will give up something, some type of food or something like that for Lent. And so in the past, back in the day, back in Bible times, they would eat a whole lot the day before they began to fast. That way they could kind of fatten themselves up, which gives you Fat Tuesday, which is also Mardi Gras. So, have any of y'all ever been to a Mardi Gras parade in New Orleans or in the area down there? So much fun. But I can only talk about it from a kid perspective because I was a kid when I went to them. Of course, so I wasn't around the drinking, the partying, all that kind of stuff. Our dad kind of kept us out of that. So, anyways, we went out to dinner this past weekend when we were out of town. And we have some leftovers, some ribs, some barbecue, stuff like that. But I thought I would make some sweet potato casserole. And what prompted me to want to do this is this cereal right here. Have y'all tried this yet? It's Special K's new baked cinnamon crunch. I had some this morning. I don't taste any cinnamon. All I taste is like brown sugar. But I got to thinking, what could I do with this? And I was like, oh, I could add it to the topping. I wonder what that would taste like on my sweet potato casserole. So that's what I am going to do. So I've got my 4 cups of sweet potatoes mashed. I used my mix and chop. Super quick and easy. I need a 1/2 cup of white sugar. And this recipe is just something that I eyeball. I don't measure precise. So, and if I remember correctly, I probably decreased some of the sugar because I remember that was just a lot. Oh, Millie Mae, stop. All right, so I got 2 eggs here that I've already beaten. Or been beat. Does that make sense? Put that in there. Calls for some salt, so we'll grab our salt. Calls for 1/2 teaspoon. That's about 1/2 teaspoon. Good to me. 4 tablespoons of butter softened. Because I was not diligent enough to take my butter out earlier. It's been a while since I've actually made this recipe. I used to make it all the time, but I would only make it at like holidays. And so today's just a no reason day. If they ask, I'll tell them it's because of Mardi Gras. Sounds like a plan. All right, so I got my 4 tablespoons of butter. I'm gonna do 1/2 cup of milk. I'm just gonna use the same dish. No point in fussing over anything and dirtying up something else. All right, I'm gonna put in some vanilla extract. This is my double strength vanilla extract. It calls for 1/2 teaspoon. So I did probably about 1/4. White sugar, eggs, and vanilla extract, yeah. But also I add in cinnamon. So I'm using Pampered Chef cinnamon. Which in this house, we like cinnamon. So let me get that off of there. There we go. And The recipe does not call for cinnamon, so I just eyeball it. It just adds a little kick to it. So now I'm actually going to use my mix and chop a little bit first. Kind of get it going and break up that butter. Can y'all see this? So yeah, we had to go up to Silver Street this past weekend to my dad's house. I was just there, but we needed to get some wood for when we cook a hog in April. When we barbecue a hog, we do it the old-fashioned way. We use the coals. We scoot the coals under the hog and let it smoke and cook that way. And from the indirect heat, and we use oak to do that. You do not want to use pine, that's for sure. Food will taste like turpentine. But the oak gives it a really great flavor. You could also use hickory, anything like that. But we had plenty of oak trees that had come down the other year in the Hurricane Helene up there. So Helene, the hurricane. So we went up there and got that wood. The trees were already cut because we had to be able to clear the path in the woods, our trail. So we just went up there and Jimmy and Rachel got the wood. I supervised. Kind of nice. But we didn't feel like cooking up there, so we went out to dinner. We went to this restaurant called 518. Been there before. If you're ever up in Chapin area in South Carolina, I highly recommend you go check out that restaurant. They're not paying me anything for the plug, although they're welcome to, you know, sponsor if they want. I won't say no. All right. I joked with Rachel that she should ask them if she came up there on her birthday, which is 5/18, would she be able to get her meal for free? But she wouldn't ask. She's like, you should have asked. I'm like, it's not my birthday. But I don't even know what we'll be doing on her birthday yet. I asked her what she wanted. Banana nut bread. That's what she says every year. She wants banana nut bread. All right. That butter is pretty well mixed around. I'm actually going to put this in the sink. There we go. And I'm going to go ahead and pour this into my dish. I've already sprayed this with my spritzer. It calls for a 9 by 13 pan. I didn't measure this. Usually I put it in my smaller casserole dish like this, cornmeal dish. But for some reason, I don't know where that one is or Wyatt has used it. Y'all, Wyatt came in here last night. He had gone to Walmart. He bought all this food and he comes in and he starts cooking. He's like, I'm making my lunch for the next 2 weeks. So he's got yellow rice in there cooked. He's got potatoes with corn. He's got chicken. He made like a whole bunch of slider sandwiches with his chicken and mac and cheese and crazy. All right, I'm just going to use the same bowl. I don't see any sense in dirtying up something else. And so I'm going to take my brown sugar, because now I'm going to do the topping. So I'm going to do my brown sugar. Calls for a 1/2 cup. Again, I'm not going to do a whole lot of extra because I'm going to use that cereal. And to me, when I ate the cereal this morning, it tasted like brown sugar or maple syrup, kind of. And I was like, So I thought this would be a great use for this. What in the world was that? Winnie? Huh? What was that? Winnie's sitting here so patiently waiting for me to drop something. There we go. It'll get broken up a little bit more that way. Maybe a little bit more. And that'll be enough. Alright, so I need to add in a little bit of flour down. Winnie, you know better. I think it calls for like 1/3 of a cup. So, yeah, 1/3 of a cup. There we go. And 3 tablespoons of softened butter. So we're going to use the rest, well, not quite the rest, but our butter here. Okay. It's all going in the same dish. Not going to hurt him. Well, we'll do it like that. All right. Now I'm going to just kind of give this a mix with the fork. Because this is just, like I said, the topping. This is what's going on top. And so I want to break up that butter, mix it in with the flour and the sugar. And the topping. Maybe I should have waited to put the cereal in until I had all this mixed up. But if you didn't guess, I'm putting cinnamon in the topping too. It doesn't really call for it. And if you're interested, I got this recipe from All Recipes, and I'll drop the link down in the description for you if you want the recipe. I do not like sweet potatoes. Never been a fan. I don't like the sweet potato casserole with all the marshmallows on top. To me, that was just disgusting, but that's my opinion. This is the only dish I've come across with sweet potatoes that I like. Now, someone had, where was I? Someone had some sweet potato fries somewhere, and they had me try one. It was good. I can't remember where it was now. But anyways. All right. This also calls for some chopped pecans, if I can find some. In here. I'm just going to put these in here. I'm not going to chop them up any more than what they are. Or create more work for ourselves. And this is going to go into the oven at 325. Let's go and get that going. There. And it calls for about 1/2 cup of chopped pecans. So I think we're going to call that good. Got a little mixy mix here. And I'm going to sprinkle this all on top. Oh, well, Winnie's happy now because I just made a mess. In her mind, I gave it to her on purpose. So we'll just let her think that. Good thing Millie Mae's not in here. She'd be fighting for it. Let's get all that goodness off of there. Okay. I'm going to put this into the oven at 325. It's going to bake for about 30 minutes. And I'll bring y'all right back when I take it out so y'all can see, which for you will be just a couple seconds. Hey everyone. So the sweet potato casserole came out of the oven, and before I could even start videoing, Jimmy and Wyatt and them, they jumped right into it. So guys, I will link the recipe down in the description below and include notes for the changes that I made. And I hope y'all have a blessed night. And if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. Have a great night.